All right, plebeians, good evening. It is Friday the 13th here at RivalCast Media, and you have stumbled upon On Tap, your 60-ish minute, slightly later than usual, roundtable discussion program where we're going to talk about whatever topics are on the minds of the RCM staff this week. Joining me this week, you'll notice that the bar is a little bit empty because we have something special planned for you. Baron von Gosu will be joining us in just a couple of minutes to talk about, as I mentioned, it's Friday the 13th, so we've got a little bit of interesting things going on. We've got some great conversation planned on superstitions, on things that go bump in the night. Speaking of things that go bump in the night, there goes the garage door, so our guest should be joining us in a minute. But, most importantly, I should probably unmute my co-hosts for this one, because I'm sure that they want to join in on this conversation. And of course I have to do this in multiple areas, so please welcome, for the first time on camera on Tap, Killer McCoy.
Howdy.
What?
And we can't go without saying hi to BiomedAlchemist.
What's up, everybody?
So now you don't have to look at just me for an hour, so this is a beautiful thing. Baron von Gosu is just entering Studio now, so I should probably let him know that he is set up to go in Studio 2 with camera at the ready. He'll be joining us in just a couple of minutes, but while we stall on that, gentlemen, how has your Friday the 13th been treating you? Because as you know, my day was going absolutely fantastic until I left work, which is a complete opposite of how Fridays are supposed to run. So, Killer, did someone kill Bio?
I don't know. I think he's trying to kill
Sorry,
himself.
I was grabbing the fan. It's just like, it's starting to annoy me.
I look away for a second, and next thing I know, people were like killed over on my set. I was like, what the crap?
Oh snap! It's a Baron von Gosu.
Oh,
no,
crap.
I should get the
Who's
Elmo
this fat
thing.
guy? And he can't hear us.
Not yet.
No, not
I
yet.
He should be able to hear us. He's looking a little
Yeah, there we
bewildered
go.
at the moment.
He does look kind of
Like-
comfortable in that couch. That's actually, is that the first time the couch has ever been seen on live video?
Well, it's not.
Oh, is
actually,
that the famous couch?
It's not actually on live video yet because we haven't introduced him. Baron, are you in studio? And you are on push to talk right now.
He's thinking about it. He's thinking about it.
Maybe.
No, I can hear him from the other room. He is saying that he can hear us,
But he's
we
not doing
can't hear
anything.
him.
Oh,
Come on, Baron.
this isn't the Ghost in the Podcast. You're not supposed to strike
It's Friday
on Fridays.
the 13th.
It's
I've been
only
telling you about
Sundays.
this. Oh my goodness. Put
I need
yourself
a
on
drink.
voice activation and see if that works. Because I know that I was beating the living crap out of the keyboard earlier because the Alt key kept sticking. Because someone keeps party fouling on Sunday afternoons. I'm just saying. Hold
And
on.
he still doesn't.
I should probably put him so we can actually introduce our guest for the week. Hello, Baron von Gosu.
User disconnected from your channel.
And
he
we
just
lost him.
Left. And why are the sounds still going? Oh wait, because it's technology. And why did you put me in charge of this stuff? I tried. I wanted it to shift around. I wanted to spread the wealth of technological ridiculousness so that maybe every 4 weeks we could have a technical difficulty.
User joined
and
your
other
channel.
times it would be fine.
Oh, now
Wait,
we're
I
hearing
hear an echo
echoes.
here.
Yeah,
Can
we
you guys hear me?
Now we can hear
Yes!
you, finally.
Yay!
Yeah, for whatever
Woohoo!
reason, I had to log out because I couldn't get anything to work.
Typical.
Yeah, it happens. It happens.
We tried to get it set up.
Should
ahead
be
of
working
time.
now.
It was working just fine a few minutes ago, so I don't know what changed. Oh, yeah, I do. The cats. Those evil cats that were trying to smack at the keyboard.
Oh, did Calvin smack the keyboard?
Makes sense.
Well, Hobbs is laying right here staring at me all tiredly and yawning. Yup, there's the yawn right there. Right on cue. Good boy.
Now, Baron,
Alright.
you've got a little bit of a mile-long stare there, like you've just seen some stuff at GameStop tonight. Just saying.
Oh, is my video going too?
All
Yes,
of the videos
yeah.
are going, yes. Yes.
Oh, yes. I'm fucking exhausted.
Oh, man.
Are you ready for later tonight, though?
Yes, absolutely. I have not had this much of an excuse to get trashed in a while.
All right.
Excellent.
So
Nice.
for those of you who don't know what they're talking about, since it's Friday the 13th, the tradition around RivalCast is that the guys have a drinking game based around one of the Friday the 13th movies. Now, there's a little bit different tonight because with St. Patrick's Day being just around the corner, i.e. Tuesday, and the fact that half of the staff is of Irish descent in some way, shape, or form, and they're damn proud of that. They're switching it up this week and watching the first of the Leprechaun movies, the one with Jennifer Aniston, pre-nose job. They've been very excited about this all week. So, after tonight's On Tap, be sure to check out them because they're going to be drinking, there's going to be laughing, and there's going to be whatever is in that Leprechaun movie. I don't know. It's been a while, and I try to block that from my memory.
No, is it the Boys in the Hood version, perchance?
Baron, that's a question for you.
I'm sorry, I was typing something in chat. What was the question?
Is that the one where they go to the hood or whatever? Leprechaun, is that like 4?
No, this is the very first one. This is where the leprechaun's living underneath the house.
At that point, I was like, they're not
Jennifer
even
Aniston,
trying.
pre-Friends, pre-nose job. It's like her
Oh,
first
God.
movie.
Yeah, wow. That'd be interesting.
Oh.
I've actually never seen this one either, so it'll be interesting.
You?
I'm not entirely sure what to make the rules for the
Huh.
drinking game tonight, so we're gonna have some fun exploring this one.
Let me adjust you just a little bit, because for whatever reason, Baron's actually coming in very quietly tonight. All right, gentlemen. The ghost in the podcast has wreaked its havoc. Friday the 13th has done this little Friday the 13th stuff. So, now that we're off and running, let's get this conversation started. So,
Now, first, wait, before you do that, remember this is a special Friday the 13th because tomorrow is Pi Day.
yes!
You're
Yes!
the math person! Come on! No. This is like Baroness's holiday
It
here.
kind of is. Kind of is. And,
It's incredible.
and Godfather, the one that I talk about, who sent me all of the cool math and sciencey stuff throughout my childhood and
Yeah.
up through college, that's his birthday is tomorrow, too, which I always thought
Oh,
was
wow.
amazing.
So that's like a
I
this is
know,
like
right?
mega holiday weekend,
Mhm.
sounds like.
Mhm.
Just saying.
This whole week is just epic because I've got... It's very strange. Like, I have a whole slew of friends whose birthdays are all, like, they start tomorrow and then they run, like, right through every day, actually through my birthday next week. So, there's that.
Interesting, and Baroness disappeared.
What? Just,
I think I had to go do
I
something.
don't...
Is this gonna be another one of those like the cat tried to electrocute itself?
I don't even know what the hell's going on at this point. So anyway, we're going to get this conversation started.
Works for me.
So our icebreaker question, gentlemen, do you have any superstitions, and if so, what are they? And while you're thinking about
I nominate
that question,
Bio go first.
while you're thinking about that question, I made in pre-show I made the IRC listeners, join in and help out with this. So Sammy Asa writes, they thought about this for a while too. Sammy Asa wrote, the closest I've got is my sister had this thing where she'd assume a bad dream meant something in the way of a message from God or the devil. As far as himself,
Hey,
I
wake
have
up.
a love for black cats. I think ravens are just a bird and not a sign of bad luck, and used to hit every crack on the sidewalk. So there's that.
Okay, gotcha.
So there's our question. If you have any superstitions, what are they?
I think there are some that we just have culturally, in pop culture, like, so for example, celebrities die in threes kind of thing, which, I mean, somebody croaks and everybody's automatically like, all right, who's next? Who's gonna go next? Personally, I didn't really have any superstitions per se. Like, I had some rituals I do. Going into work, there was kind of this banner up at the top as soon as you walk through the front entrance, and I would kind of slap it like a football player would, and I'd get in at like
That counts.
Okay.
5 in the morning or something like that, and I never, I just did it to do it. I didn't really think anything of it. It's just kind of something funny. But other than that, not really. I mean, other than the things that kind of pop up in culture, I don't have any personal superstitions other than that. And since I don't work there now, I don't have any at all. Oh well.
So no bad omens in Bioland then?
No,
Like
not
a
really.
black cat just falls from your ceiling, you think that's totally more like...
If a black cat falls from my ceiling, the first question is going to be like, all right, how'd you get in? Because there is one that comes in my backyard a lot. So, like, how did you get in here?
All right, Killer.
I do sometimes find myself kind of like walking on sidewalks and stuff like that. I will intentionally miss the cracks, but I don't think it's a superstition. I just do it because I'm slightly OCD, probably. I think the biggest one I probably kind of think of, I believe it is, I'm gonna have to say karma. I kind of think,
Okay.
Yeah,
I hear you.
yeah. So I think a lot of Americans kind of believe you do good things will happen to you. Which also the flip side of that, though, is bad people get what they deserve. Which kind of
We like to hope that.
we do, but sometimes I think we don't take in consideration that bad things just happen because
Right.
bad things
right.
just happen, and they
Yeah.
they don't deserve it. But we instantly think, oh, they must have done something. So that's really the only superstition I can think of off the top of my head.
Yes, that's legit. I mean, it's
Yeah.
kind of, and
Oh,
the
he's
Baron
back.
returns. What?
Huzzah!
Sorry, everybody. Minor emergency.
Well, good. You arrived just in time for your part of the conversation. So,
He just thought he was going to escape it, right?
so the icebreaker question: do you have any superstitions, and if so, what are they?
By superstition, do you mean paranoia? Because I have a lot of those.
Well, again, the whole like barricading yourself
God.
in the office and always having at least one light on and a weapon nearby. That doesn't really count as a superstition per se.
Those were the examples that were given.
No. Wait, I do have a weapon near me. Does that count?
You always have a weapon near you, though. That doesn't really count, though.
Oh,
Not in
darn
your
it.
case personally. No.
Okay.
All right. A superstition. That's a hard one to answer. Paranoia things, I guess that would kind of go to superstition. Is one, I never like having my back to a doorway. I'm always very, very nervous about that one. So I actually angle everywhere I'm in. In fact, the room where Baroness is in is actually kind of hilariously set up because it's set up with the idea of not having my back to the doorway. And there's two doorways if you count our sliding glass door that leads off to the back patio. So yeah, it really makes
And a
no sense for the
fireplace.
layout other than the fact that, paranoid.
And a fireplace for Santa Claus to come down.
That too. And my coworker tonight told me that he is the Irish Santa Claus because he has a red beard that's as long as Santa Claus. So I told him, if you are the Irish Santa Claus, then instead of gifts, you have to bring booze. And for all the bad
There
boys
you
and
go.
girls, you
Oh,
either bring
God.
O'Doul's or a Natty Light. And then for the good boys and girls, you bring Guinness.
Well, yeah.
That's
And
funny.
Killian's for the so-so.
Harp's pretty decent, too.
I
But-
have to say this real quick, Baroness. I went to a meeting with a couple of Greens Army people we were meeting up with because we're contractors, and we were talking to them, and they kind of start talking about now we're part of their unit and everything, that we get invited to the Christmas parties, and about the Dirty Santas, and the Dirty Santa for them is everyone just gets booze. Always the booze.
You can't
Like,
So
really-
everyone
Nothing
just
else?
opens it up. Are they different labels at least?
Yes,
Does
they're at
everybody
least
just open
labels.
up and it's
They're-
the same thing? You're just
No.
like, all right, done.
No, but it was funny that like the first year that this sergeant did it, she bought like a blender, like a $50 blender. No one wanted it. They just wanted the booze. $20
Right.
worth of booze.
But the blender's good if you like mixed drinks, like margaritas or
apparently-
something.
Hey, Army guys, they don't like mixed
When-
drinks.
No,
One
they don't.
straight.
That's true. Well, if they're trying to
true.
get the ladies, though, I mean, that helps. I was actually very confused when I graduated high school and was going off to college. At the time, I was thinking about, I ended up going to a branch campus, but I was taking summer classes at the main campus. And one of the gifts that I received was this blender with like 4 different ice crushing functions. And that was like the big sell for this thing was like the ice crushing functions. I'm like, what am I going to do with a blender? And they explained it. It's like, oh, well, that's for if you like the mixed drinks. It's like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Okay.
Baroness, let me introduce you to fancy booze.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
All right, sorry, I interrupted you.
Is he petting the cat?
Apparently so.
Oh, yes!
Oh!
Cat. That's my dog there.
I was
My
trying to
cat.
convince him to jump up on the couch so I could put him on the video, but he's being a little brat.
Yeah, he
Of course
does that.
is.
All right. Well, I had to think about this one a little bit because like you said, Bio, I have rituals that I go through every day that I don't really think about because it's just, it's
Right.
not really that I think it's particularly superstitious or not, but I just do it. It's just natural. Um, and I don't necessarily think that brings good or bad luck, anyway, so I don't think that truly counts. But there is one thing that I do, and I had to bring it up because, I mentioned it the other day, so if I didn't, I'd be kind of, hypocritical if I said I didn't have any. But there's been an odd phenomenon in my life from the time I was very small, where if I had a problem that I was kind of mulling over for a long time, just something that, it was like the answer should be clear, but you can't really figure it out. If I would walk through a library or a bookstore and I was thinking about whatever this problem was, invariably I'd be off by myself where no one else is around and a book would fall off the shelf. And if it did, I had to read whatever that book was because somewhere in it was the answer to whatever it was I was bothered about. And it's
Interesting.
that, so
Yeah.
if you ever read
I've
through,
seen it happen.
Yeah.
It's true.
I mean, nobody around, not like on the edge of something, like just random books that just fall from the thing. So if you look at like I've kept writing journals for decades now, just quotes and little clips of things that I find. But throughout the first, well, throughout all of them, but through the first ones in particular, there's like photocopies of specific pages and like little notes written in them. That's what those are all about. It was just, if
Oh,
I
wow.
didn't read
Interesting.
them, then I wouldn't sleep until I found a copy of the book and did it and figured out what that answer was. So that's mine. It's just weird.
And that just made me think of a stupid one, which was when I was in junior high, I used to go to Best Buy to pick up a CD. And since I like soundtracks and stuff like that, and I was in Arkansas, the likelihood of finding that compared to rap or country is, a little bit less likely. And I would always go and find the CD I was looking for, but that wasn't a superstition. It was just kind of an odd thing. I don't know. I'd go there, like I went once. I was looking for the soundtrack to Star Wars Shadows of the Empire. And it wasn't even like, it was just based on the book. Some guy wrote something based on the book series. Or the single book, I guess. Yeah, and I showed up, and there was just one sitting there. So it's just like, okay, gonna buy it.
Wondering if you had like a stalker that worked in the store and just like, oh, he's looking for this one, let's order one in and just have it there when he slips in the store.
That'd be interesting, but yeah. Now I can just, go on the internet. Oh, I kind of ruined that one, didn't I?
Yes, you did. Yes,
well,
you
if
did.
it makes you feel
Little
any
bit,
better,
Some guy
bit.
got laid off.
the Kindle. The Kindle kind of
Yeah.
did that too.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yours, you can actually, like, if the book still falls out, you could still go, look it up on the Kindle right there, just like tap, tap, tap. So it's done.
I like that. All right. So, Baron, did you think of any other superstitions other than...
Well, let's see. As far as rituals go, every single night, and I've done this ever since I was in kindergarten, every single night before I go to bed, I search my entire room or any room that I'm sleeping in for spiders. I am not kidding. This is not an exaggeration. I will go from wall to wall, checking everything just to make sure. It's like a nervous tick with me. I cannot do it. Every hotel room I've ever stayed in, every friend's house I've ever stayed in, doesn't matter where. I always, always, always go on spider patrol.
I can vouch for
And
this.
I cannot sleep. If I find one, then I cannot sleep until I search the room two more times.
There have been several times, both when we were in the apartment and when we would go to like hotels and things, where he would wake me up, because I would usually go to sleep first. He would wake me up to inspect like a spot on the ceiling to see whether it was a bug or not.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
she's
more than I
not
was
exaggerating. I've
expecting.
done that. I've
But
definitely
it's
done
like
that.
I'm 5'1", I'm very nearsighted, I'm very bleary-eyed because you just woke me up, and I'm like, I can't see what
You know
that
what?
is.
You give me an alien, a Sasquatch, a fucking ghost. I could take all those mothers on. But you know what? Fucking spiders are my kryptonite, and I don't apologize for that. Because you know what? Even Superman has his fucking kryptonite, okay? I don't apologize for being a badass with limitations. It just happens.
See, this is the point in the conversation where I expect you to just rip open your hoodie and you got the Superman thing underneath it.
No, don't do...
Yeah.
Okay. It's all good.
instead of having a work shirt on underneath. But it's still pretty cool.
You never know.
nonetheless.
I'm just saying.
Anyway.
Okay, that story was not what I expected, because first when you're talking about, ever since kindergarten, I was waiting on it to be like, I have to have my mom sing the safety song to me or something. And then once you started to say it, I was like, oh, okay, no, I get that now.
We need to write the spider safety song and have the general sing it.
Oh,
That
amazing.
would be the most amazing. That's what I want for my
Amazing.
birthday.
God.
Uh-oh, where are we going?
Uh-oh.
We are
Cat
mobile, folks.
Aaron, where we going?
We should just change
RCM On
his
Tap
caption
is
to read
mobile.
Cat
Holy
Cam.
crap.
Oh god, he's on the move. He's on the move.
No, I'm trying to go upstairs so we can take care of the echo.
Yeah,
we
but
need
yeah.
some mobile music. Do 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 do. Do 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 do
And
do.
this is where we find like the ghost upstairs.
Do, do,
It
do,
just
do,
shows
do,
up
do.
on the camera behind him, and we all start freaking out. Like,
Shit,
"Who's
we just
up
became a
there?"
found footage movie.
It's like,
Cut it
don't
off.
move. Oh yes, Aaron, you have to tell everyone that you're so sorry.
He's not sorry.
Nah, he does. He regrets nothing.
Exactly.
Well, now that all of the internets are getting a
There.
grand tour of our house, Killer,
That's kinda
just so
nice.
you know, that wall is also, it's actually a darker shade of green than the one that I'm in right now. And again, the lighting just kind of throws it off.
Of course it does.
Just saying.
Okay.
Yeah, before
There,
the show, we
now
were
I'm
talking
good.
about that, how all of our rooms kind of have the same, similar colored wall, and she was just like, "No, not quite."
Yeah,
All right,
It's
blame
started
the
pants
cameras.
warning, pants
yeah,
are
start
off.
detailing
Oh, I didn't even need to hear that.
Hmm? Oh, yeah. I just
We better
tuned
move
that
on.
out.
it. Yep.
Killer's gonna up his editing skills later on tonight, just like,
Yes.
that's out, and that's
He's
out.
gonna
That's
level up.
I'm literally
tonight.
Hey,
gonna
you
put,
know
like,
what?
the
Another
censor bar.
superstition: not wearing pants means good show.
True.
No, I'm not even gonna touch that.
Baroness, next question. Next question. We need to go to the next question before it becomes too late.
All right.
Phrasing.
Quickly.
Phrasing.
Moving to the next question. All right. Our main topic for this evening is: have you ever had a paranormal experience? And by paranormal, just for purposes of this discussion, we're going to open paranormal to include things such as ghostly phenomena, premonitions, dreams that later came true, deja vu experiences, or otherwise spooky stuff that just makes you go, Baron,
There's
are
a
you...
steady paycheck in it. I'll believe anything you want me to believe.
I've seen
Nice,
shit
Winston,
that'll turn
nice.
you white.
Already has. What? What?
Bio is a perfect example of a white male. The XD. White, nerdy male.
All right. Baron, since you're the guest, and typically we start off icebreaker questions with the guest, but you disappeared and kind of freaked me out a little bit. We're going to start with you.
I sent you a message in TeamSpeak letting you know where I was going.
She
All right,
doesn't read the messages.
No, this...
Nobody got time for that.
Bitch, please. There's the problem is with this question. There's a lot of experiences that would be on your list that I would say would count, especially the whole deja vu thing, and a lot of things with dreams that end up being things that come true that just kind of freak me out. But I'll go with the stereotypical one since everybody knows that we do the ghost hunting stuff and we've done the orb fests. I never had an experience before we started doing the ghost hunt stuff. Never, I don't know, I was just always interested in it, always into it, but never really had that experience to really like kind of give me the reason why. Like, it's not like there's this great epiphany moment where it's like, oh, and all of a sudden I'm in the ghosts, that awe could be that little angel where I first see the ghost, like, oh shit, look, a ghost. Now I'm into this thing. I never really had that moment. But there was one night where we were at the steakhouse. It was the first time Baroness and I had ever gotten to go into go into the steakhouse restaurant in Medina. We're given the keys and said, okay, you can spend the whole night here. Do whatever the hell you want. Place is yours. And we were down in the bar area. Baroness was getting herself a glass of water. She was standing on the other side of the bar. I was standing with my back to the bathroom switching a tape. And this is one of the reasons why I don't have my back to doors anymore. And I was switching a tape in the camcorder when something... What?
Oh, you had the back to the door thing before this experience, but yeah. Continue.
Yeah, I know, that was just trying for somewhat of humor, but I guess I failed. But anyway, continuing my story. Before I was rudely interrupted. But anyway.
Oh,
I'm
Battle
the
is already
moderator.
coming out.
I can interrupt whoever the hell I want. This is a beautiful
Game
power.
over.
Just
Game
saying.
over. Bad Orc has been released.
Ooh.
Also, she's your wife, too, so she gets natural immunity to do that.
Hey, I was on my couch. If it wasn't for the damn echo, I'd still be on my comfy ass couch. I don't mind not getting my ass off that for the rest of the night. But anyway.
Good point.
So anyway, when I was standing down at the bar, something actually grabbed my shirt and tugged it 3 times. Like, hey, turn around. Turn around, of course, there's nothing there. And the only thing behind me are these 2 doorways to the men's room and the women's room. So I have Baroness stand outside the 2 rooms, and I go in each one. And obviously there's nobody in there, because if there was, then this wouldn't be a ghost story. We had cameras up all over the building. Nothing. There was nobody in this building but us, and we were the only ones that had the keys. Because the owner, who lived next door, had a certain spot for us to leave the keys from the next morning, so we could get it and open up the store again, or open up the restaurant again. So there's nobody in this whole entire building. That would I have to say would be my first one. My second creepiest one is I went to there's a cemetery where there's a legend that a witch was buried there. And there's a certain gravestone that's called the Witch's Ball. It's like this giant marble ball, and it's actually very pretty to look at. And supposedly that is where a witch died. And there's all these little legends, local legends that go along with different things you could do to hopefully provoke the witch. So I went to this in broad daylight. I'm getting out of my car. I have my door open, and I'm saying I have a little voice recorder because I'm trying to get an EVP, which is electronic voice phenomenon for those unfamiliar, which basically it's you record voices that you're not hearing at the time that are actually speaking to you. And what happened is right as I was getting out of the car, I say, I'm now at, blah, blah, blah cemetery. The time is blah, 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 blah. And I'm getting out of my car. You hear me sigh. And right before I close the door, you hear a woman's voice come on and say, Hobbes. Now, you guys know that, Calvin and Hobbes are cats. This was many years before Calvin and Hobbes even existed yet, and especially before we had them. But I have a tiny little tiger about this big, plastic, that I have on my dashboard that has become like the symbol of my car that I've always referred to as Hobbes, because I'm a big fan of the Calvin, the Calvin Hobbes comic strip. So whatever it was, before I even got out of my car all the way and had the door closed, within 30 seconds of me starting this recording, had said Hobbes. And it's clear as fucking day. Clear as fucking day, and I did not hear it. I walked around this cemetery for 45 minutes, recorded the whole entire time, didn't get anything else while I was there. And you're in the middle of the fucking country. The nearest house is probably 500 yards away. So there's nothing that's nearby this place. Wide open field as far as you can see, and yet the voice is clear as day, and I can even play it for you guys sometime if you really want. It is that fucking clear. That freaked me out because it was the first time I ever had something where I was by myself, and you're in wide open space, and I just got out of my car. And I'm about 45 minutes away from home, because that's how far the cemetery is. So that was pretty freaking cool, too. And because I don't want to go ahead and monopolize all the time, I've definitely had a lot of déjà vu moments where it's like I dream of a place, and then like within a day or two, I'm actually at that place doing exactly what I was dreaming of. So, and that's about it. And again, I don't want to monopolize all the time because, I want to get your guys' opinions in there, but that I would say those would be my experiences.
Chirp, chirp.
Who goes next?
I can go ahead and go because mine's short. I mean, I've had deja vu from time to time, but other than that, I can't really think of anything offhand. I've had happen that I couldn't necessarily go back and explain later with something. I've had people in my family who've run into situations where their pets were suddenly interested in like a space in the house and such. But I mean, that's about it. The rest of my family is a lot more, at least on my mom's side, is a lot more superstitious than I tend to be. So, I mean, I don't really have a good answer for this one, other than not really.
That's fair. And actually, when I was going through the in IRC chat earlier, Hax was in there, and he was writing about how he felt really bad that his answers were very dull because I gave him the 3 questions for tonight in order. He's like, no, and I'm not sure I understand the 3rd question, so I don't know how you're going to be able to help with that. But so I mean, it's a fair answer though. So, Killer.
I'm kind of with bio, and I'm with this. I've never had really any ghost experiences like that. Now I've had what Baroness said, like deja vu. I've dreamt of something and it happened. And one of the clearest examples I had, but I think I'll explain the story. I'll explain the story. Me and my brother. It was Christmas Eve. Mm-hmm. We were both sick. I forgot what we were sick with. I think we were with the flu. And I can remember that night specifically because I had this dream. But I was walking into the living room, and I could see all the toys that my parents had gotten for us. And really, I saw this wooden table with more toys on it. And later we woke up and we kind of groggily got up, and there were all the toys, the table included. And that table, I could distinctively remember that table. The actual explanation I think I could think of that one, though, is I was a notoriously bad sleepwalker. My parents can actually remember me. I was 3 years old. My mother, like 4 o'clock in the morning, found me in the middle of the street crying. Because I had walked out, just opened the door and walked right out. Yes, I was notoriously bad about it.
Wow.
Yeah. But as Baroness said, I've had moments where I can't explain it. I've gone to places and are doing things, and it's like, I've dreamt this. I know I have, but I can't put my finger on it. But I know I've dreamt this before, but now I'm doing it. So what's going on?
It just seems to be such a common occurrence, too. Like, even people who don't have, otherworldly experiences, if you want to call it, on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
It's one consistent thing that I hear from people. It's like, yeah, I've either had a dream about this before, or you get that weird feeling that you've done something before. And I know several people who have just, they've had that experience and known before something actually happened what was supposed to happen, and were able to deal with it and just kind of, change the situation because of, they had that dream or whatever, so they knew what to expect.
Yeah.
I've always been a very vivid dreamer, and I've always been very curious about why that is. Not just me specifically, but why so many people have those types of experiences. And it just, I don't know, it's one of those things that we can't really explain, but
yeah.
What parts of the brain are functioning that are giving us this information that shouldn't even really happen yet? And how, is there a way that we can tap into that, so to speak, and kind of figure things out a little bit better?
Yeah. One thought is, I know there's been studies that actuality, what people see and everything, is actually the brain just interpreting it. Actually, the eyes don't see like 24/7, 360, all that. They're actually, it's the brain's lazy, so it's putting in previous memories and using that instead.
Right.
But the problem with that is that doesn't quite explain, if you've never been to a place and you dreamed about it, then you're there. How do you explain that one?
See, and I agree, and I think that's part of the whole arrogance that a lot of the science stuff has. And, obviously, science is interesting and it's all fun and good and everything. But that's a lot of the arrogance, is because we think we know so much, but really we don't understand anything. And most scientists will tell you, we honestly still don't know why we dream. All this stuff is just, there's a little bit of evidence to back it up, but not enough to ever say conclusively what is that causes this stuff and where it comes from. They don't even understand what the actual conscious mind is. They understand the brain, how it functions. They can see a thought and the electrical impulses, but what actually creates consciousness, they still have no clue how the hell that even happens.
Well, and because of that, there's a lot of medical ethics things that are still kind of out there in the air. Like, at what point is somebody, we understand when flat-out death, when there's just no activity whatsoever, but remember in the early 2000s or early to mid-2000s, there were court battles over people in a coma to say whether or not they were going to come back or not. Yeah, so it just kind of flips around like that. Yeah, I think some scientists do definitely come with a type of arrogance. I think a lot of them are more, you're kind of trained to just look at the actual evidence that you can pick up with the sensors that are good for detecting whatever. So you can say, a voltmeter, for example, that what you're going to pick up that, correlates to the potential between 2 points and that kind of thing. So it's interesting. Like, we don't have the tools yet. We get there all the time. We're getting better MRI machines. We're getting a lot more accurate CT algorithms and such. So I think it'll be a ways to go before we get there. But I think we'll at least be able to figure some of it out. Even if it's still like, okay, we know what it is, but we don't know the function. Or like Baron was saying, the why. Like, why we kind of defragment our brains in our sleep.
At the very least, it makes for some interesting fanfic later on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. and a lot of really good fiction based on that as well. There have been some really good books based off the premise of what happens with the mind alone.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was an interesting conversation.
Surprising.
Yeah.
I know. And you guys thought that you wouldn't have anything for this. See?
Oh, I knew
I don't
would
have any
that.
examples, but I was waiting on Killers to turn into an alien abduction story. When he was out
Really?
in the middle of the street.
I had money on Bigfoot.
Really?
We're in the middle of nowhere. You go hunting all the time or go out into the wilderness. I mean, who knows?
No, surprising. I have never hunted a day in my life.
I was about to say, Killer just does
Seriously?
competition
No,
shooting.
I've wanted to. I had a coworker who was going to take me to go hunting, but it turns out I couldn't go hunt the place we wanted to go hunt with the weapons we had because it was a restriction.
Boo!
I know.
They don't allow your fully automatics.
No, Bio. I don't have any fully automatic.
I know,
Just
I know.
imagining,
ATF.
like Bambi's just hopping across the plane, and then
ATF.
all of a sudden,
Don't. Yeah,
It's all
Bambi's
good.
just-
Cut it off. I will get around on the ATF. You don't want that right now. You don't want that.
All right. Well, I was going back to your story a few minutes ago, Killer. I was going to say, if it makes you feel any better, when we were growing up, my sister was also notorious for walking in her sleep and getting herself in interesting situations. Thankfully, she never got out to like where the street was, but we did find her in the backyard trying to get like out the back gate into the alley to go to the candy store while she was dead sleeping, and it was like 3 a.m. And my favorite story is when we lived in the house we grew up in. It was an older house. We had a lot of really cool, like, paranormal experiences
Hey,
there.
wake up.
None bad, but it was a 3-story house plus an old basement. It was built, like, 1890s-ish. And one night in particular, so it had a full attic with, like, the full staircase and everything that went up, and we just used it for storage. So the one night, she was about 7. My mom woke up because they had bolts on the upper parts of the door to the attic so that, my brother couldn't get up and get in there because he was real small at the time. And so she had managed to get all of the bolts open and get the door open, was like stumbling up the stairs because she told Mom that there was dirty laundry up there that she had to wash before school started tomorrow. And she was very adamant about this. And they kept putting her back in bed, and she just kept going right back up, never woke up. And when she was asked about it the next morning, not a clue. Not a clue. So it's not just you.
Okay, yeah, speaking of sleepwalking and siblings, there was a time all my family had to go to a hotel because a tornado had just hit the house.
Ooh.
At the time, later on, the local news said, "Oh no, it was just straight winds." No, it was tornado. It was. There's no doubt about it. But anyway, we finally figured out my brother will talk in his sleep. He had an entire conversation with my mother. Does not remember it. It was hilarious.
That's the kind of guy who doesn't need to have secrets. I'm just saying.
Nope.
It's terrible.
That's right.
Worst spy ever.
Exactly.
And no recollection after that. That's
That's
what
interesting.
kills it. It's like, I don't know. When I was, and I've been interested in dreams for a while for various reasons, but I remember when I was 13-ish, we were in homeschool at that point, and my mom was very big on psychology when she was in college. She never finished that degree, but, she was very interested in it from the onset. And the fact that, in homeschool, you're kind of, you have set standards that you have to hit, but if you go above and beyond that, they're like, you're learning, why not? So I started taking like basic psychology courses and stuff very early on, and that's one of the things that really interested me. And between that and the science aspect of it, I conducted a series of, if I did this in a professional setting, it would be considered highly questionable ethics, just because of the very, very personal relationship that I have with my sister. But to be fair, she was a willing guinea pig, and my mother was aware of the experiment.
Hold on.
Totally okay with this. All right.
I've got to train wreck this. This isn't going like Lena Dunham territory, is it?
I
Oh God,
don't
no,
think so.
no.
Baroness is just like, look at him. He's done. He's done.
So the experiment, if I may frame this properly, the experiment was to figure out if once the subject went into like REM type sleep, so they're deep sleep, they're doing their little, you can actually tell because their eyes kind of flicker a little bit. If you start piping music into their ears while they're doing this sleep, does it affect their dreams, and does different types of music produce different types of dreams in the sleeper? So for about a month, I would stay up late waiting for my sister to go to sleep, and then I'd put little headphones on her, and each night I would pipe in like different types of music, and then make her like do this little like dream journal when she woke up about what she dreamed about. And so I had like I had it set up so like there was classical stuff, and she didn't like classical music when she was awake, but after a couple of weeks of this, she started like the classical music nights, and when she would wake up the next morning, she would be in a much better mood, and she'd be like humming these little tunes that she couldn't quite figure out where they were coming from, but they were like movements from those pieces, which I thought were awesome.
She
Nice.
suddenly wanted to start like reading fan fiction while thinking of this music.
She didn't quite get to that point, but
Getting her to write fan fiction would be more interesting.
she writes
There you
poetry.
go,
She's
yeah.
actually been published a few times and won a couple of contests.
Cool. Wow.
But the nights that I decided to pipe in Metallica,
I was waiting on it.
Why do I keep
Waiting
thinking
on
the
it.
word seek and destroy? What the hell?
I actually have a little like bump on the bridge of my nose because after
Oh,
one
wow.
of those nights is one of 2 times we ever got into a physical fight, and she broke my nose.
Wow.
So I don't,
master of puppets now?
Where's
She's the
Elmo?
older
God.
one.
Yeah, I know. I am the older one. I'm the oldest of my siblings. This is horrible. Yeah, she definitely had the upper hand on that one. But yeah,
It's funny you mentioned that because I just got an advertisement in the mail to go ahead and hypnosis CEU courses.
I could get credits. on
Oh,
this.
yeah. Well, that would
Okay.
actually work
Referring
for
to
your-
Missing's
yeah.
thing in chat here.
Yeah, Baroness, we're gonna have the Baroness sleep sessions, the unreleased files.
Oh,
I
we
don't
could
even know if
totally.
I
We
still
could
have those.
we could make it look like it and have like on that particular night when you got your nose broken, I could have like a blood spatter on the manila folder for that night. It'd be incredible.
It was the day after, and she was just in a really, really foul mood, so I don't know. I asked her if she wrote down her notes, and she told me where I could stick my notes. And,
That actually reminds me of one thing that a friend of mine had me do, not as a Baroness file experiment or whatever. She had me listen to one of those past life meditation. It was an MP3 in this case, and I just hooked it up onto my phone and listened to it. And right before I go to sleep and all that stuff. And I did see something really strange at the end. And I was just like, okay, well, here, I just told her what it was, and that's all that came from it. But it was kind of interesting.
Interesting. I'm still kind of on the fence as to where I sit on the whole, like, past life thing, because on one hand,
Yeah, same.
you see, you get enough anecdotal evidence, if you want to call it that, of, like, kids who have very vivid experiences, and they tell their new families exactly this is what I did, these are the people that I was family members with, this is where you can find these things, and giving them like very, very explicit specific details that are later corroborated. But then on the other hand, it's like the whole it goes back to the karma thing. It's like, well, if you led a good life, then good things should happen. If you led a bad life, then damn it, you need to be punished. And why do you get the chance to, just reincarnate and just continue on with whatever it was you were doing? So.
Well, but that's kind of the concept of Buddhism, is to keep going until you do.
Yeah.
You're stuck in the loop, so coming back again is actually punishment until you finally do get it right, and then you become nothingness, essentially, because you're finally enlightened and there's nothing else to accomplish in your spiritual energy.
No, that makes sense, Bio, because now I have to live my life and deal with you people. That makes complete sense.
That's right.
Oh,
I
you know
am
you love us and you
purgatory.
know it.
No.
Oh, crap! That really does explain a lot. Yeah.
Doesn't it? Doesn't it?
Kind of does.
Trust me,
Well-
we're gonna make sure your liver remembers a past life.
Oh God, yeah.
Hey.
Oh,
And
sounds
Baron,
like a
for you,
threat.
that is why Ben Affleck
It's not a threat, it's a
exists.
promise.
oh,
You went there. Oh my
That's
God,
the
you went
punishment.
there.
That's the punishment. You have to tolerate his movies existing. No.
Great. We're gonna get off the air, and he's gonna be late starting the movie because he's gonna be crying in the bathroom. Why? What did I do?
That's why they make a rewind button.
Just randomly disappear.
Oh, Killer has to go cry into his beer? Pause.
Speaking of beer, I actually got some good beer this time.
Good!
I know.
Yeah, he first
no
talked
scotch
about how
tonight?
he poured like a finger of scotch. We were just like, "You're not going to do that again, are you?"
No,
He's like,
no,
"No."
No,
See, my scotch is empty.
you're our friend.
All gone.
We have to make sure, if there's an
I
intervention.
understand. I understand.
Like, we can send you like a bionic liver for the next.
That'd be fucking awesome.
That kind of would be awesome.
Just have a port that you just plug into. Be amazing.
I like that he had the bionic liver. Go, 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 go.
Yeah.
All right. So it is 20 after 10. I know we were a couple minutes late getting things started tonight, but it's Friday the 13th. We got the show off the ground and everybody's actually here and you can see them and it's amazing.
And we've not had a Skype crash
You
yet.
did it!
I mean, we did have
Yeah,
that. Yeah, I know.
Why
That's
did
right.
you
It's
say
gonna
that?
happen.
And it
Come on.
goes, okay,
Bring
this,
it, Microsoft. Bring it, Microsoft. Just saying.
this just went full circle because now that we all have one very specific superstition. And I swear to God, Bio, if Skype crashes before we're done with this show,
We'll show you what we learned in our crotch punching class.
they teach that as a class?
it's called women's self-defense, and yes, they do.
Why did it only happen to me during recess?
It was like one of the first courses you learned in the women's suffrage movement.
Let go of my purse. I don't know you.
This is how you handle the patriarchy.
Wow, this is amazing. I can actually
Wow.
see my face getting redder
Yeah.
in real time. This is amazing.
Yeah,
Now
that's what
twist the
happens
rib
during
like
the
it's a paper
show.
towel.
All right.
Wait,
So
before I
any-
forget, I just remembered another superstition we all believe in.
Yeah.
And we all grew up because of it. We all did it because we all grew up at this specific time period. Nintendo cartridges.
Oh.
When they started going bad,
Yes!
you were the
Yes.
only one who
Mhm.
could blow on it and make it work. Only you could do it.
No. In my case,
No,
because
I
I'm
didn't have that
technologically retarded, I always handed it off to somebody else, and then it worked.
Well, yeah, but we've determined, this is something, Baroness. Remember your magnetic field.
That's true.
Yeah, that's another.
true.
Oh, I forgot that was the other thing I believed in.
The Baroness magnetic field.
My
It's real,
personal
folks. It's real.
magnetism is pretty amazing. I'm just saying. All right. So let's wrap this up with our final question of the night. And this one's a little more difficult. So I'm going to explain what I mean by this because it actually, when you think about it, it kind of does require a little explanation. So the question was, and this is an either or question. When it comes right down to it, do you believe more strongly in coincidence or synchronicity? Now, the difference being, coincidence is more like two things happen that, might be connected to you specifically, or at least you can see something, but you believe it's more of like a random relationship. It's interesting, but it's just completely separate and, it is what it is. Synchronicity being, okay, these two random events just happen, but there's like a greater reason for them happening, and that's why we need to pay attention for them. So again, the key difference here being, are they more random or is there a meaning behind it? And Baron, I'm going to pick and start with you again.
Of course.
Of course.
Would.
Well, because we already
I-
know what my answer is, or else, I wouldn't have asked it. So,
I don't think my answer is going to be all that shocking either. No, I do not believe in coincidence at all. I'm not even remotely believe in it. I always believe, I'm a very narrative driven person. many of the things that I do, I come from the standpoint of putting in the context of a narrative or a story. And for me, it doesn't. Things that happen for reasons, or happen because they're supposed to happen the way they are. We might never know the reason. We might not ever be enlightened enough to figure what it is out, but there is always one there. And you can call it God or fate or destiny or whatever the fuck you want to call it. It doesn't really matter to me. But coincidence, it's just, I think if you break everything down and you really look at all the things that happen, it's just, to me, it fits too perfectly together. Things are way too detailed and way too specific to be anything of a coincidence. So no, I don't believe in that at all.
Okay. I'm just going to mention. So I kind of go both ways on this. So there's a lot of things that just fit together too perfectly to not have some sort of greater meaning. But then there are also just little random things that happen one-off that I think are interesting and, could fall under that realm of just being a random coincidence. For example, now it looks a little bit different on the screen that the viewers are seeing, but the way that we have to do the setup with the video is we're running through Skype. So we have two windows open. So I've got, on one side of the screen, I have the layout that all of you are seeing right now. On the other side, I've got the Skype window open that has, where we are, and, we do the little boxes and manipulate it. So the setup on the Skype screen is different from the one in the broadcasting screen. So on my layout, I've got Bio, Killer, and Baron all in a row. And the way that Killer's sitting at his desk and where his monitors are, every time he switches over to look at something on the one monitor, he's looking directly at Baron by way of my screen.
Oh, Brady
So
Bunch.
every time Baron starts talking, Killer has been tending to look over at this other monitor, so it looks like he's being very attentive to Baron's conversation going on. And again, there's no way he could have known that. I could move the things around at any point, but it's just an interesting thing to me. And I know that's completely random, but it piques interest. Then there have been
pour
other things.
some water on Baroness's hair from above.
Well, I see you bios below her on the actual layout.
Yeah, if you look
in
at-
that
yeah, you're
case,
right
hold on here.
Yeah, I'm looking at the actual layout. I got Killer underneath me. So Killer, look up for a second.
Oh my god! Why are you wearing whitey tighties? And why are they brown on the bottom?
See, I know you're not looking because I'm not wearing anything at all, big boy.
He explained that
Happy birthday, Mr. Killer. Guess where it also goes if I have to pee?
Oh, amazing.
That's what that stain on the ceiling is
That
about.
would be amazing if, I wouldn't wish this on someone, but if there were a roof leak, like right above.
That would just be terrible.
Or somebody just standing right off screen, kind of like squirting something above them.
Me and Bio
You know-
joked about that. We need to start
Yeah.
doing those kind
Actually-
of gags.
Now
Oh,
that I think
synchronicity,
about it.
huh?
Ah.
And you two know I'm very good at starting conspiracies. And I know that you have roommates. So I'm just saying, those cookies go a long way. It's gonna be some
Oh,
random
boy.
thing, they're creeping in your room, and all of a sudden, boom.
I'm just waiting on Elmo to come up and just be like, I'm back!
I was kind of expecting that. Alright.
Just the familiar red arm right there
We
with the
kinda-
knife.
We kind of... You two didn't answer yet. Don't try to dodge this question.
Nope, we've not answered yet.
No, not yet.
Shall I flip a coin?
No, I'll go. I'll go first.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I haven't. I'll probably because of my religious background, how I was raised, and it was kind of very religious and very Christian based. I kind of believe in synchronicity. Things happen for a reason. And stuff like that. But I've kind of me stepping away from that. I don't quite believe it as much as I used to.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes sometimes I kind of wonder. Although sometimes also when I meet random strangers and they immediately know, hey, I know you. You're that guy from blah blah blah, and oh yeah, we know the other person, he's a total dick. Which, if people have heard me rant about my people I have to deal with at work, they know who I'm talking about.
Mhm.
We just have to say his last name, and everyone knows. Oh yes, him.
But Killer, I don't work at your base.
Yes, Bio. Everyone knows you. Everyone knows your name.
Well, I am generic white person, so
That is
He
true.
makes a good
That's
point.
very true. But to be on a serious note, I'm kind of 50-50. I
Mhm.
don't know. There might be things that we would say, oh, it's random coincidence, but in reality, there might be an actual explanation. As Baron says, we don't know all the details. That actually there might have been a thing leading all those different events happening. Because, I mean, there's, 7 billion of us on this
Mhm.
planet?
A little more than
fair answer, yeah.
So, you don't know. Humans are unpredictable in some ways, so I'm kind of 50-50 on it.
Okay, that's a fair answer. Bio.
Well, I'm pretty much the same as Killer in that regard. Like I had a religious background growing up, at least, and you do kind of see things that are bigger and above your understanding. And really, in science, you see the same thing as well. You see something, and instead of it being like a well, it's too far beyond us, it becomes, I want to know what caused that thing to happen, and if it can happen over and over again, and that's how you figure out a pattern or develop a theory. I do kind of think that. I mean, I don't think like butterfly effect where it flaps its wings and far off something happens. A wind knocks over a town or anything like that. But
It was
I
a tornado, Bio. It was a tornado. Get it straight.
I wasn't talking to that,
Space
but
Tornado.
It's a twister, it's a
Yeah.
twister.
Once, but yeah. Anyway.
Well, it hit about in Albuquerque, and that caused it to twist,
Oh, yeah.
and then it went straight back. Yeah.
Of course, should have taken that left at Albuquerque.
Yep, it
Got
should have taken the left at Albuquerque. It would have never happened otherwise.
Exactly.
But yeah, so I think I'm kind of in the middle too. Like it's one of those things. Like I think Neil deGrasse Tyson put it best in terms of a lot of people have tried to put him in a bucket, like they do a lot of the pop scientists, where they're just like, well, you're an atheist like me, right? And the answer he kind of gave is, as a scientist, there are no absolutes until an absolute's been discovered. Like we see gravity, and even then, gravity kind of has some kind of kinks in it where it doesn't always work out the way it normally does in the standard theory. So, I mean, I guess that's how I kind of look at it. Is it would be arrogant to say yes or no either way, but I'm always kind of curious to see the evidence to one way or another, which is why I'm not as nearly into ghost phenomena as Baron is. But when he was showing the photos, I was like, oh yeah, show it to me, because if anything, I'm not going to be looking for a pattern. I'm just like, here, give me an image. I'll just look at it and tell you, in the first 5 seconds if I see it, and describe it, because the brain does recognize patterns, but sometimes there is a pattern in the picture for a reason, because it's there. So, yeah.
And speaking on that, Bio, I that's why I kind of appreciate Baron. That everyone, you want the evidence to back up your claims.
Right,
because
yeah.
With no evidence,
Absolutely.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, and
if I
when
can't
you did-
repeat then it didn't happen.
Right. Well, and when you were doing Orbfest, you were so oriented on like any bump and sound that you knew exactly what it was. You were just saying it like, that's me, or I just brushed against this, this door or something like that. And that level of honesty up front pays dividends, because then it turns into where, in a world that's kind of panned as being full of people just digging junk out of nothing and saying, oh, well, look, here's my evidence. It's better to see kind of those people that don't do that, who actually are blowing things away. And that was the big thing about Ghost Hunters when it first came out, is, whoa, wait, this is a paranormal show that half the time they're just saying, oh, it's just HVAC problem or something like that.
Which they've definitely gotten away from in later seasons. But
Yeah.
I mean,
and I've read stuff on that.
well, yeah, and I understand,
Just
to some
pressure
level they have a
from-
show to put on.
Right. But still, I mean, credibility.
Yeah.
Right, and that's always been my big thing, because it's and my philosophy, and Baroness has the same philosophy too, because she's my partner and everything, And our philosophy is, we're not trying to push anything. We're not trying to convince anybody. It's here we got, make up your own freaking mind, because it's and again, a lot of the things that happen, it's going back to the question, it's just not coincidence. There's a reason this stuff's happening the way it is. And I'm just glad we're in positions every so often we can get some kind of evidence to it. And when we were going through we had Varyer up last weekend, we were going through the Orbfest 2014 stuff, because I was finally playing the evidence for him. And so we could actually get it on video, his reactions to it, and so we can put that as part of the DVD we're making. And there was definitely things that I had marked down there where I'm asking him, we got this voice, is this you? Because I can't, it's not me, and obviously it's not Baroness because it's a male voice. You're the only other male there. You tell me, is it there? And I do that to Baroness all the time. Okay, we got a woman's voice. Come here. Tell me, does this sound like you? Do you think this is you? Because authenticity is everything. And I've said this before on Ghost in the podcast, a ghost hunter or someone who researches paranormal in any way, shape, or form is only as good as their credible evidence. And I think scientists in general are the same way. If you end up getting caught going ahead and changing, numbers, or going ahead and adjusting your hypothesis or the way you're doing your experiment because you're trying to push an agenda and prove a hypothesis is true,
Right.
I mean, that immediately shoots anything you ever create, no matter how good your experiment is set up to be. And I'm a very big believer in that. Credibility to me is everything. And I might not always be right, but at least I'll be honest with you.
Right.
Yeah.
And that goes a long way, because, we're running into more and more, like you were talking about, ghost hunters, for example. They originally seemed rather legit. That was the big bragging, because my cousin's really into this stuff. And he was like, you've got to watch these guys, because and right off the bat, I was like, okay, so they're the ones that find everything and say it's something. And he was like, no, there's one guy, and he just won't admit it, that it's, something paranormal going on. And I remember it was such a huge deal on the show when he finally was like, okay, I have to say, I can't explain this one. This is likely something paranormal. And yeah, like you said, it's become more entertainment, and that's why I've always told people, watching some of those shows, think of the channel it's on. And if it's on a channel that allows, fictional stuff alongside it, you've got to at least put your mindset into that maybe there may be some bits of it, but like you've said before, Baron, that sometimes they'll go there for like a whole week to try and get enough stuff for an episode. Well, if some of that's just made up stuff and it's mixed in with the good stuff, totally trashes the credibility in my mind. And then that goes a long way with me. It's not just, oh, well, next episode they'll fix it up. It's like from that point, maybe even further back, I'm going to start thinking, okay, so who tampered with evidence?
Mm-hmm.
And that's just not the place to be when you're trying to pitch something as legit. So yeah, it's something I think a lot of your listeners appreciate, is when you're forthright with them and say, maybe this is something I don't think it is, but here it is, and you decide. People are smarter than we let on. They don't need experts to always tell them what's what. If anything, that encourages people to go research it themselves. And, maybe they get into it.
And that's exactly my point with any of this stuff. It's just, I want to get the conversation going. It's like, it's people, no matter what society you've ever lived in, no matter what cultures have always existed, there's always been some kind of belief or some kind of belief system that talks about the afterlife, deities, ghosts, whatever it is you want to call it. And to me, and we want to talk about coincidences, some of these are cultures that never even knew the other one existed, and these beliefs were already established. So it's like, what are the odds that all these human beings that are completely separated in a world that doesn't have things like the internet or Skype or whatever else could still have somewhat similar beliefs in other things? Is it part of the human condition? Is there something more to it? Again, we don't know the answer to that, but it's too connected to be of a coincidence, in my personal opinion. And again, feel free to disagree with me on that, but to me, it's just that's probably the biggest thing to me that proves that I think there is something. It's just because why else do all these different cultures believe it, or believe in something somewhat similar?
There's certainly a curiosity to try and figure it out, rather than taking it at face value, which is one of the things that kind of, it's a good factor, at least in my head, for humanity, for the people who are actually genuinely curious about things versus just taking it all at face value.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that big time.
Cool. Well, this has actually turned out to be a much more interesting conversation than I even thought, and this was a topic that I was interested in to begin with, so this is, good thing. Good job, guys. I appreciate it.
Woo!
All right, it is now 10:38, so we are going to wrap things up because I know Baron and Killer have a date with the bottom of a
With destiny.
Date with a
the
bottle.
bottom of a bottle, and Jennifer
Oh,
Aniston
God.
pre-nose job, so they've been looking forward to this all week.
Please tell me
Before
there's no
we wrap
midriffs.
up- You'll be fine. We need to start that Kickstarter for Killer's new liver.
Yeah, you
Covered
probably
to-do
need
list
to.
last week and kinda
Bionic liver.
get on that. Last production notes before we leave you for this week. Next week, Varya's going to be joining us. We have a very cool episode planned around the idea of leveling up, and I'll explain that a little more as the week goes on. So stay tuned for that. Questions for the week will go up on Monday and Wednesday, so get in on the conversation. Join us. If you haven't liked us on Facebook yet, shame on you. Facebook.com/RivalCast. On the Twitter, @RivalCastMedia. You have our individual Twitters on the screen as well, except for Killer because he shuns
Yes.
social media aspects. He's gonna get one. Shh.
No, I'm not.
Shh,
You can't make me.
Shh. Like I said, I'm
Big Daddy McCoy, I'm just saying,
fully
it may be reserved.
okay with running your personal Twitter feed for you. I'm just saying it's,
It's kind of creepy.
mm-hmm.
But she'll do it.
Yeah, I know.
And there are
as a-
people who get paid just to do that. I'm
As
just
a
saying.
very prominent and very prolific writer on RivalCast's main site, I will be happy to do that for you. Just be aware that it will be highly entertaining.
Killer and Candy the fanfiction. Is that what I'm seeing?
Oh God!
Bio, you've seen the story.
You
drafts
spoiled
for
it!
that, yeah,
Gosh,
spoiled
darn it!
Yes.
I like it.
Outside of
Wow.
outside of our stuff, Tournament of Epic. Let me start that one over. While Podcaster Tournament of Epicness is going on right now, also on the RivalCastMedia.com page. If you go under the tournament, crap. I'm going to forget this now. I've had a few. Under the events section, get your votes in there. In the middle of round 2, you have until the end of Sheep Moon to get your votes in. So be sure if you haven't done so already to do that. See who advances to the next round. If you want more information on that, tune in Monday night at 10 o'clock to WoW Uncensored. I'm sure they'll be talking all about that then as well. Gentlemen, I know I'm forgetting something. What am I forgetting?
I think we have to state our utter disappointment that Bubba Kayla was knocked out of the tournament in the first round. What is wrong with you, America?
Boo.
What
He
is
almost
wrong with
made
you,
the final
world?
round last year.
Yeah.
I
Oh
know, I
man, the
saw that
Bubba
too,
Leave
and-
hype train. Oh, that was probably the most amazing thing I've seen at RCM in some time.
Yeah.
Because you're
I
just
was-
like and there were like some high up WoW podcasters I think who were like foaming at the mouth in rage when they were just like, oh, this guy, he barely talks, barely shows up to his own show. When he does, he just says, yeah, I like it. Oh, there was so much salt. I loved it. I was just like, yes, I'm feeding on your tears, podcasters. No, but alas. And
Yeah.
DDD, who got knocked out as well, which he got into round 2 last year. So, but yeah, apparently there are a lot of really interesting matches and some new folks. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Like Baroness was saying,
I saw
check it
some
out.
names on there that I recognize, which is interesting because outside of our people, I'm not really like I still don't get World of Warcraft. They've tried to explain it to
Right,
me, and
right.
I listen just because they're entertaining as hell. I'll just
Oh,
be
that's the
honest.
same thing for me. Yeah,
So, yeah.
I played WoW up to level 50 in Wrath, and I was just like, you know what, I'm wasting my time
That
on
means
this.
very
So yeah,
yeah. I can actually feel my cousin like listening to this later, going, I've tried to explain this to you. Why do you not understand yet? You could have been something. You could. Oh my god. So yeah. They
like
get
is that
very into their
the game
feelings.
where they're like ogres or like or snow dragons or something? They're just like
I
ah.
disappoint her. I'm so sorry, Katie. I'm so sorry.
We need to end it now before it's too late.
All right. So yes. So check out the other shows on RivalCast throughout the week here on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/RivalCast Media. Although you already know that, unless you're on the audio podcast, in which case, come and see us. We have cameras now. I'm so excited about this.
Yup.
Very special thanks to Baron von Gosu. You can catch him at 5 p.m. Sunday, along with me, the Baroness, when we go to our next episode of Gosu the Podcast. Got some interesting things planned for Sunday's show. Baron found some interesting information on some real life horror stories that kind of gave me the creeps when I read it, I have to be honest. So stay tuned for that. Check the Facebook and Twitter feeds because there is a little bit of a possible change in time tomorrow night with the RivalCast, so stay tuned for that. But other than that, from all of us here at RivalCast Media, thank you, and cheers. All right, where the hell did I put that? Oh, there we go.